Good evening, folks. If you are watching after the fact, then please do feel free to skip ahead to qualifying, as we are just getting all the rest of the drivers into the session and the stream all set up and ready to go. Just waiting for Ghost to join us in the party as well. We shall be right with you. Hello, Ghost.
Hi, mate.
Oh, gosh. Now, I'm not the biggest grid tonight, which is a shame, but I should do well.
Yeah, but it's, it's Austria. It's usually
True.
a good race regardless.
Yeah.
Alright, I'm tell them to go. Alright.
Oh, gosh, I'm not ready. Right. Good evening, everyone, and welcome back to APPF1 Tier 2 for tonight's dose of racing action. I'm SUMO, your commentator this evening, and I'm joined, as always, by my amazing co-commentator, Ghost. How you doing, mate?
Hello, mate. I'm, well, alright. It's been a busy day, but I'm looking forward to a dose of Tier 2 action to end off end off the day, and I'm sure it's going to be a cracker. Austria, you always is.
Yes, we head to the Austrian hills then for a short but thrilling tour of this exceptional circuit. 2.683 kilometres see us on a lap around the Red Bull Ring here in Spielberg. 10 corners make up the track, 7 to the right and 3 to the left, with plenty of overtaking opportunities with the circuit's 3 DRS zones and plenty of corners that promote fast side-by-side action. I love this venue, Ghost. Any thoughts on tonight's circuit?
Oh, it's a great track for racing, a great track for finding the limits as well, because you really have to dig deep at every corner, because if you make one error, even a couple of tenths, and you could lose 4 or 5 positions on the grid. So it's all about precision and getting that lap that you want. So this is going to be a very interesting quali session, and then on the race, I think we could end up with a very long DRS train, but around here that often results in action rather than stagnation, like somewhere like Portugal. So I'm looking forward to it.
Yes, it should be very good. This circuit always just promotes some incredible racing. And looking at the championship then, it's been 5 rounds of incredible racing thus far, and round 6 might not be any different as we begin our qualifying session. Lawrence and J-Man are not here this evening. Your top 2 drivers are not here. You have heard it here. You have heard me right. And so it's this man, Little Manny Man, who's got it all on his shoulders to take the lead of the championship, as he is 10 points behind our leader, Mr. J-Man, at the moment. So it's all on his shoulders. He'll be feeling the pressure tonight, but there's a few other drivers as well who could sneak in towards those top positions. Daphne Hillis, JBS Steve and Tier are not too far back either. So this championship has just opened up with the absence of our top 2. With Red Bull continue to lead the rest of the Constructors' Championships as the rest of the teams battle it out. I didn't have too much information as there was no Constructors' information published last week. And, yes, we are in for quite the mix-up, Ghost.
I may have forgotten to do that. Well, it's fine. We know that Red Bull are about 50 points ahead, and that's the main thing to know. Little Manny Man's about to get started on his lap. But yes, Tier is joining during qualifying, allegedly. So hopefully he will get here in time. And Mr. J-Man is on the back of a 7-hour car journey, apparently. And he will hopefully be able to make it before the end of qualifying. So we may well see our championship leader get into the race and try and extend his championship lead over his rival Lawrence.
Well, then we will see if that does then increase. It seems that information has, the situation has developed since I've been away. I was watching the new Ant-Man film. But we'll get back to the motor racing as we watch this Red Bull make its way around turn 7 into turn 8 now, and down towards these final 2 corners. These fast right-handers dropping down to 6th gear. Does the Red Bull, or maybe 7th, no, down to 6th for the Red Bull, shoving it through, tripping over my words as well, and then down into 4th and climbing up those gears down towards the line to set the initial pace tonight. It's a 1 minute 5.7 from the Red Bull, and not far behind is the Mercedes of LB.
Indeed. I, for one, am looking forward to Matthias 256's first showing in Tier 2, as LB goes about half a second quicker than Manny Man. Yeah, it's Matthias's debut in the McLaren, and I really hope he can do well on his debut. It's great to see people get good debuts in APPF1.
Yes, it certainly is, and we've had some great drivers come in and really show us what they've got on debut. Invalidated his lap thus far has Matthias, but I'm sure he's got something in him. How is Krauser, 2-time podium sitter thus far? Can he make it a 3rd tonight? We'll have to wait and see in that Ferrari. But 1 minute 6.4, not an awful time, but he'll have to put a little bit more on the table.
Yeah, definitely. 2 Ferraris have not had good qualifying form so far this season. JB had a decent run last week, but overall they haven't been the best that they could be in quali. So yeah, unfortunately it doesn't look like that's changing today, as Daphne Hillis goes P2 for now.
Yes, Daphne Hillis, of course, race winner last week as well, I believe, if I'm not mistaken. It was quite a bit of carnage at Portugal. You'd think I'd remember this. It's probably my job to remember this, but I have slept since then. But we've had quite the championship, and Daphne Hillis has been quite the rising star here in Tier 2. I've been enjoying seeing his progress as well. His teammate coming round the last corner now. He'll set a time. It won't be incredibly quick, though. It's a 7.2 from the McLaren, and I feel like he's got a bit more time in him than that. Tier has joined the session, ladies and gentlemen, so your favourite spinning Brit is here. And he is looking to get on the timing board as well. But Fido Man is going to be the first Williams to put a time on the board. And it's nice to see him here. We'd see him complaining in the chat that he missed it. But he's actually in the session today and he's invalidated that time. So he'll have to go around again.
Yeah, indeed. Matthias, I should mention that was his second run, that 1 minute 7 lap. And he had no ERS for pretty much the entire lap. So there's definitely more time in that debutant in the McLaren. Pommy Alex goes P4. That's much better, much more like what we've seen from him before. But I think the biggest surprise so far today is Little Manny Man up in P3. He's usually languishing in the bottom half of the grid in qualifying, but look at that. Second row for the Red Bull driver.
Yeah, perhaps he's knowing that J-Man may or may not be here. He's really put in stepped up his showing at the moment. Or just this track is a favourite of his. It's a favourite of everyone. I think as LB goes into 1 minute 4.9s. Didn't quite see that. That Mercedes snuck that time in under the radar, and wow, that's the time to catch this evening.
Yeah, and that was with 3-lap-old soft tyres as well. So there's definitely more time in LB there. Yeah, he's looking pretty imperious there with that sort of time. But we'll see. I know Daphne Hillis has been pretty close to him in recent weeks, so we'll see if he can do the same again. But it might well be a 2-horse race today, Sumo, unless this man has anything to say about it. The man in the Alfa Romeo, Femi Thrustmaster, as well as his teammate Cheryl Shaft was right up there last week as well.
Yeah, he certainly was, and Cheryl Shaft, I think, got caught up in that major incident at the beginning, so he'll be hoping to have a clean one this time. Hello, Lawrence. The other side of the Mercedes garage here is in London at the moment, not making the session, but hopefully be back next week and continuing to fight for the championship. Hello, Harper. Yeah, it should be a fun race. I mean, we've got 12 cars now. Mr. J-Man is here, everybody. Our championship leader has just arrived, so he will have a chance to defend his title. Well, title hopes, I suppose. And Lifebout says, put the controller down, LB. You're too quick.
Oh, oh no, the pit lane's stuck. What's happened? Everyone's stuck in the pit lane.
Oh, no. Not another code.
There we go.
Oh, there they all go.
They're off. They're off.
Codemasters doing Codemasters things.
Yep. You love to see it. Femi Thrustmaster's on his lap though. I think he's definitely one to watch.
Yes, here comes that Alfa Romeo. He's had a couple great results. LB's retired. I think he might have left the session. His car is kind of stuck on the circuit at the minute. I don't know what's going on. My stream has for some reason gone all the way back to the beginning. But well, we've resolved that with just one click of the button. But yes, our current provisional pole sitter is currently, well, technically blocking the pit lane, I suppose. But hopefully he can get back in. But we watch Femi Thrustmaster. I hope this isn't going to interfere with his lap. The Mercedes has found its way back into the pit lane. But round the final couple of corners comes the Alfa Romeo. Cheryl Draft has rejoined the session, but we watch Femi Thrustmaster set his first lap time of the session. It's a 1 minute 5.7. Not a bad time from the Alfa Romeo. That puts him right up into the top 3 and right into the thick of it.
Absolutely, that is what we were expecting to see. He's had brilliant qualifying form, has the Cameroonian so far this season, and there he goes onto the second row. But yeah, the two Red Bulls now in the session. Mr. J-Man looking to extend his championship lead, but his teammate right up there for today, at least for now. And we'll see if Lil Manny Man put in the lap of his life or whether he's got even more time to find.
Yeah, I think Tier is going to cross. No, he's on an outlap, it seems. Mr. J-Man finally out on the circuit. He'll be happy that he's been able to make the session. I think we're going to be watching Darth Nihilus make his way through turn 4. Down the hill he comes to then come into turn 5 and 6. I love this little complex of corners. It's such a tricky one. We had a big incident here in the Sprint Championship many moons ago, Ghost. I think you put me in the wall or something like that. But it's all water under the bridge now.
Yeah, well, you'll have to talk to AP about that one, because he's the one that squeezed me onto the curb. No, it was my fault. But Mr. J-Man is on his lap, the championship leader, coming through Sector 2 now. He was a little bit tentative through Turn 1, but you usually are on your first lap around here, because Turn 1 is pretty much make or break of the lap a lot of the time. Just because of how precise it is and how easy it is to lose a tenth and a half with a tiny error. So Mr. J-Man coming through, it's been a very tentative lap, missing a lot of apexes, just trying to get a time on the board, I think, is the championship leader.
Yeah, I think so. He may not have had too much practice. Meanwhile, Darth Nihilus has closed that gap down to about a tenth of a second to LB. It's a 1 minute 5.1 for the McLaren driver. A decent time. Tier has made some improvements as well. Matthias has made an improvement, but he's not really moved in position. He still sits down in P11, down the last two drivers on the grid at the moment. We watch Cheryl Shaft make his way through turn 10 now. That looked pretty tentative. That's going to be an outlap for the Alfa Romeo, so he'll be going round once more. JBS Steve, I think he's on an in-lap at the moment. I think he had a slight improvement. He's gone 1,000th of a second quicker than Pommy Alex.
Wow. That's as close as you can get. The Ferrari-Alpine rivalry goes on, but in different cars this time, different drivers this time. Crozer coming to the line, DRS open. What's it going to be? A 5.7 puts him into 5th place, just ahead of his teammate. So Ferrari back up the order into the top half. As Lil Manny Man also improved on his previous lap, but it wasn't quite enough to get him into the top 3. Although I think that improvement did prevent Crozer from jumping into 4th. So it was still an important few hundredths of improvement for the Red Bull driver.
Yes, certainly so. And look at that, it's incredibly close there. 1 minute 5.703, 761 and 793 between positions 3, 4 and 5 at the moment. And then a little bit of a ways up to the top 2 at the minute. Still LB the only driver to break into the 1 minute 4s. But there's still plenty of time to go. We've got 5 minutes and 25 seconds of the session left at the moment, and counting down, of course. And it's a short lap around here, so that's plenty of time for the drivers to get themselves out. But surely they will want to make their ways out when the track is at its best.
Femi is a tenth and a half down in Sector 1.
Pommy Alex has just put himself into P3 there. 1 minute 5.2. The Alpine, who has been lamenting this entire season so far, has found himself in the top 3 positions.
Much better. That is the vintage Pommy Alex that we know. Femi Thrustmaster coming to the end of Sector 2. He had a poor Sector 1, and it's a poor Sector 2 as well. He's not able to improve. I think we'll see him come into the pits ready for another run later on. Are we? Yeah, he's into the pits. So no improvement from the Alfa Romeo driver. Matthias is still out on track. I'm not sure why he's not improving. I'm sure he's coming into the pits. Maybe he had a go at one more lap and then decided that was going to be that.
At least that Cheryl Shaft's book, perhaps, on practice runs.
Yeah, he is now in the pits. It seems like everyone's on outlaps at the moment, so we've got a bit of downtime.
Yes, we do at the moment. Let's have a look at the chat. Hello, Rick. Nice of you to be here. LB's been in the chat as well. Yeah, my car touched the curb at 10 miles per hour and just said no, apparently. Yeah, it will do that, especially at that first corner. Lawrence, I don't think getting yourself fired is a great idea to join here, but I do like the commitment. Fido Man's on a new setup this evening, so he's enjoying making the best of that at the moment, and Lawrence cheering on Mercedes, and rightly so.
Indeed. Mercedes doing well at the moment, sitting on pole as JB goes deep into turn 3, and that's going to cost him quite a lot of time. I don't think he's going to be improving. Mr. J-Man is on another lap, the championship leader, currently sitting all the way down in P9, but on another lap, and that was a much better looking turn 1 as he comes down towards turn 3, but it wasn't better. He's 1.5 tenths down nearly, so that was very deceptive.
Yeah, watching Krauser now in the Ferrari. I think he might be coming into the pit lane. Yes, he is. He's peeling it in. Is the Scarlet car, so no lap time from him. How about Fido, man? He's on an outlap right now, I believe, so we'll wait and see what he can produce for us. JBS Steve, the other Ferrari, he's down on his previous best, and no improvements there. Daphne Hillis at the moment, 6 thousandths of a second up, with 4,400th improvement from the McLaren. Only going to see him inch ever so closer at the minute. Cheryl Shaft, is he on a lap? He's not. He's just begun a lap at the moment. How about Little Manny Man as he comes across the line? That's an out lap as well, the beginning of his lap. So we'll continue to watch along. As Pommy Alex still out on track. Perhaps looks like he's going to stay out on these tyres, I think. Yes, he is. He's staying out.
Mr. J-Man abandoned his lap, so he'll be going again. Lil Manny Man, basically identical time. As Mr. J-Man's disqualified, he must have spun at turn 1, and the game's disqualified him for blocking the pit lane. So he will, championship leader will start from the back of the grid, Sumo, as his teammate comes through sector 2 now on his new lap.
Oh, I think Fido Man has backed out. I think that's going to be the end of the Williams' session. Yes, it is. He's peeling into the pits. JBS Steve, but yeah, championship leader way down the order, but we must watch the action coming along at the moment. JBS Steve, slight improvement, but doesn't improve his position. Matthias, he's going to run again, it seems, at the minute. We've got 1 minute and 20 seconds left of this qualifying session as Cheryl Shaft puts himself into P4.
Oh no, Lil Manny Man! Oh, he was 2.5 tenths up in sector 2, but he's binned it at the final corner. That's his qualifying over. He's going to be absolutely gutted with that. He must have really been fancying his chances at a much improved qualifying position, but still, if he can finish P6, that would be not bad at all. As Matthias, is he coming to the end of his lap? He's in the middle of his lap in the McLaren at the moment. We've also got Femi, I believe, on a lap, and maybe Daphne Hillis as well.
Yeah, we'll watch Matthias then making his way around the circuit. I think he's the next car to set a competitive lap time. Looks like Ferrari are setting up for some teamwork as they enter into Sector 3 there, although the other Ferrari's just pulled away, so perhaps not, as one Ferrari seems to be pulling into the pits. Leaving plenty of space for the McLaren to navigate around the outside of it. And here comes that Papaya car, then opening up the DRS. Not been the best qualifying debut for Matthias. He's got a bit of time, but he's got no battery to really set a competitive lap time, so this might be quite an anticlimactic qualifying session. Daphne Hillis, we watch him as he rounds the final couple of corners now. He's got a little bit of a gap to make up, but he's in the pit lane. That's it. He's not going to be able to challenge for pole position here. It's Femi Thrustmaster, all eyes, 700ths of a second up on his previous best at the moment. Making his way around is the Alfa Romeo. How much of an improvement can we get from car number 50 as he comes up towards the line? It's going to be a 5.5. No improvement to his position, but an improvement to his lap time. Incredibly close times here to this evening in Austria. Krauser is 4 thousandths of a second up on his previous best. He's making his way into Sector 3.
He is indeed. He's 8 tenths down at the moment on pole position. He was improving through Sector 1, but coming through the final corner now, he's going to be pretty much the last one to set a lap. DRS open, down the pit straight. 105.8. He does not improve in the end, so he stays P7. Matthias has spun at the final corner, so that is your qualifying.
Wow, quite the qualifying session we've had indeed. I think a few drivers will be a bit disappointed, especially little Manny Man. He had that incident that saw him spin just before the line which is never good. Taking a leaf out of LB's book, then. But LB didn't do that today. He has found himself on pole position for your race this evening, with Daphne Hillis lining up alongside him on the second row for no lack of trying to get to pole position. Pommy Alex back on form then for the moment in P3, with Cheryl Shaft rounding off the second row of the grid. Femi Thrustmaster and Little Manny Man occupy row number 3, with Krauser and JBS Steve in row number 4. Tier and Matthias make up your top 10, with Fido Man and the disqualified Mr. J Man, who has it all to do.
Have some more America's representation in Tier 2. We have Daphne Hillis from Mexico for this season, and now we've got Matthias from Ecuador, which is it's always nice to see people from new countries join APPF1.
Yes, it certainly is. It's always a pleasure to see especially some more colourful flags on the grid as well. I remember, who was it that used to run a Korean flag? Was that Bluey?
I think it was Bluey.
It was probably Bluey. It was a Bluey thing to do. But yes, J-Man lost the first challenge. Yes, life bout. There's apparently 2 life bouts in the chat. There's life bout and there's lift bout. Couldn't get up to grips with my new setup recovery drive coming from Fido Man. LB, aka Pole Merchant, says Rick. Lawson, who is LB, for those of you who don't know, is giving himself 16 laps, and he's going to spin on lap 17. I don't want to hold you to that, but normally, I mean, last time you said you were going to spin out or crash from a race, you went from pole to flag, so I'm not sure how much I can trust you there, LB.
Yeah, I concur. Every time he says that, he wins. So we'll see. Apart from Belgium, but that's because he always has a bad time in Belgium. You know, the LB Spa curse is, and there we go. There's the curse. LB has left the session.
This is exactly what happened last week.
It certainly is. Daphne Hillis is going to find himself in P1 pretty soon. There goes LB. Everyone else goes off just afterwards. Daphne Hillis is going to find himself in P1 at turn 1 by the looks of things.
Yes, he certainly is, and LB should be able to get his way back in, but he won't be able to take control of the car until the race has begun. And having a look at the strategy then, we've got one of each tyre at least on the grid, with your top 2 starting on the hards. Of course, LB didn't get to pick his strategy, or he did and then lagged out. Mediums for Pommy Alex and Cheryl Shaft, then a split strategy for the Alfa Romeos as Femi Thrustmaster starts on the hard tyres, then Little Manny Man on the mediums with both Ferraris as well. Tier is starting on the soft compound of tyre, with Matthias and Fido Man opting for the mediums, and our championship leader Mr. J Man is opting for the softs.
Yeah, he certainly is. It's an interesting mix of tyres, really. Only 12 on the grid, but we've got such a mix of tyre strats. I think Mr. J-Man on the softs is going to be very interesting to watch, but those softs are going to die very quickly in comparison to the mediums, so we'll see how much progress he can make. He's going to be hoping for an early safety car, I think.
Yes, I think so.
Here we go, heading down towards the last corner and getting set up on the grid are all our drivers.
Coming around the final few corners then, it should be an interesting start to this race. Hopefully LB can find his way back in, or it'll be 2 races in a row where he's missed out due to lagging out. But as is the risk when you do some sim racing online, it is something that does tend to happen a little bit too often. Pommy Alex disqualified. He's going to have a slight disadvantage in his grid box there. Little angle there from Cheryl Shaft. He's not quite straight on, but you know, I mean, I think the real Formula 1 drivers are allowed to do that as well. But we are going to go racing here in Spielberg. There are 5 red lights, and again a glitch, but we should soon be underway. There we go. At the moment, it's going to be Daphne Hillis on pole position, disqualified as LB. So again, missing out on the session. But around the outside is going to go Pommy Alex into turn one. And it's going to be Pommy Alex emerging. He's off the track, though. He might have to give that place back to them. But behind him, the Red Bull and the McLaren go side by side up the hill in towards turn three at the moment. But Pommy Alex still leads them as they head in towards this corner at the moment. And it's going to be Pommy Alex emerging ahead. There's a bit of jostling around as well. There's the Ferrari of Krauser now trying to get his way past Little Manny Man in the Red Bull, and I think the Krauser has found it. Not quite. They're going to continue to go side by side down the hill now, braking very deeply through here, continuing to go side by side. Great to make no contact through there. Krauser has found his way around the outside of turn four, something that's not easily done.
Tia's made a good start, so has Matthias on his debut. That's a fantastic start in the McLaren. Mr. J-Man, not the start he would have wanted, but he was very cautious. I was riding on board with him at the start. Matthias right behind Tia. Cheryl Shaft looking at a move past Little Manny Man as well. We'll see if Little Manny Man can translate his quali pace into race pace. Pommy Alex setting the fastest lap at the front. Cheryl Shaft still looking for a way past this Red Bull.
Yeah, I think Little Manny Man got a poor run through the final corner there. That invited Cheryl Shaft to have a little bit of a look, and he's going to be all over the back of this Red Bull at the moment. Daphne Hillis, that gap is incorrect. He's not actually a tenth behind at the moment, it seems. We're watching Cheryl Shaft making some moves, perhaps not quite close enough to the back of that Red Bull for now. We've got a few timing errors. Tier is spun already, so doing as I said he would. A shame for him. He had a great start on those soft tyres, but he's not going to be able to take advantage. Meanwhile, Femi Frostmaster getting his way past the Ferrari on those hard compound tyres up into P7.
Indeed, Matthias slowed down on the straight and let a lot of cars through. I wonder if he got an illegal overtake and then let too many cars through. I'm sure we'll find out. Someone's gone. Is that Mr. J-Man? And here's the championship leader. Has spun at turn 5. Disaster for him. And Tia's gone off as well. It's all happening at the moment in Sector 2. Tia down to P9. Matthias back up to P8. But Mr. J-Man on those soft tyres, he hasn't made them work. And he's down into last place as Matthias nearly loses the car. What a fantastic save that was as Tia goes on the grass to get past him. Little Manny Man's now spun. It's a disaster for Red Bull. It's all happening. Someone else has spun. That's Pommy Alex. Daphne takes the lead.
What is going on? This is an absolute calamity. I don't know what to watch, Ghost. I'm trying to find all of the action going on as Matthias takes a dart to the inside into turn 3 on the Williams, and he's going to go. The Williams will go underneath him as Tia gets back into the place. Matthias went far too deep and ran onto the curb. He's going to come out the threat now from the other Williams car. Fido Man got the DRS open. J-Man's retired from the session. The championship leader's out. He's not going to score points, Ghost.
Yeah, it's a disaster for him. And in the pit lane, I mean, he must have been just maybe tired. He did have a 7-hour car journey, so I don't blame him. But yeah, that's a disaster for him in the championship. He was tipped to get improvement on his championship lead today, but that is not going to happen. And Lil Manny Man or Daphne Hillis could take the championship lead as the latter sets the fastest lap.
Yeah, certainly so. And we were speaking to Daphne Hillis last week, and we asked him whether he was thinking about the championship. He said he wasn't too focused on it, but he's going to find himself thrust into it now after this round of racing, if things were to end the way that they are. But there is still plenty of racing laps to go, and there is going to be some drama, I think.
Absolutely. Well, if it finishes like it is now, Daphne Hillis would take the championship lead as Pommy Alex goes for a move on Tito Man out of nowhere, it seemed, as they go through. And Lil Manny Man's trying to get involved as well. It's nearly 3 wide into turn 4. As Matthias getting past Tia further ahead.
Oh, there goes Tia.
It's, yeah, on the inside and goes down to P10. Tito and Lil Manny Man still side by side on the approach to turn 5. It looks like Tito's going to get him. Lil Manny Man backs out. And Tia is going to have to catch back up again. What a breakneck first 4 laps.
Yeah, certainly. So as Pommy Alex has spun and he's put it in the wall, he's got no wing now. Oh, the form of Pommy Alex has just dropped right off from qualifying. And he's gone all the way from first to now last place in this race at the moment. It's all happening at the back of the grid. Meanwhile, at the front, they've all stretched their legs and they're all having a nice, quiet little race there.
What on earth has happened to the reigning champion? I do not know. It's just been a terrible, terrible season. It's not like we've changed games or anything, as Tito Man and Lil Manny Man nearly getting in a bit of a scuffle. I think Lil Manny Man expected Tito to go defensive, and he didn't, so Manny Man had to back out. But yeah, Pommy, I'm not sure what's happened to him really this season. It's not been a good one at all for the defending champ.
No, it's just been calamity, and that sometimes does happen. You know, we've come into this season from the winter, Christmas period, I suppose. We're still in the winter technically, but yeah, I mean, a little bit too much rust on the Australian, and he's really struggling to defend his championship. And I think as the rounds close off and the performances continue to drop off, it'll be. It looks like we might be seeing a new champion here in Tier 2.
I think so, and his name could be Darth Nihilus, because he still leads the race, and he's increasing his lead over Crozer at the moment. So I think he is in full control of this race, and it would be honestly surprising if he didn't win the race from here, but you know, we'll see. Don't count your chickens. As Cheryl Shaft has now gotten just about within 1 second of Crozer for P2.
Yeah, he's closing in on that Ferrari. It is the Alfa Romeo at the moment. And you know what? I'm just looking at this Alfa Romeo, and I don't know why everyone's raving about this Alfa Romeo 2023 livery, because it's just the same livery, but the white is now black.
I don't like it. Hot take. I don't like the new Alfa livery.
Neither do I. Neither do I.
I think it just looks odd, to be honest.
It looks awkward.
Yeah, exactly. Well, I'll tell you what isn't awkward, Sumo. Cheryl Shaft within 3/10 of Crozer. And I think this move is going to be made on the run towards turn 3. If he gets a good exit out of turn 1, Crozer gets a much better exit. But I still think Cheryl Shaft will have him here. It's going to be close as he approaches down towards the braking zone. Is he going to go for it? No, he doesn't, but he nearly goes into the back of the Ferrari. Did very well to avoid him. But clearly, Crozer under some pressure here.
Yes, certainly. That was very Kevin Magnussen-esque, as he dove to the runoff area, the slight little bit of runoff area there is on that part of the circuit. At the moment, there's still some battles going on a bit further back. Little Manny Man and Fido Man battling away. The Red Bull trying to find his way around the outside of the Williams, and he's going to be given the space now. They could be side by side through turn 5. Yes, they are, and it's the inside now for the Red Bull. And ahead he goes of the Williams, but the Williams is going to stay with him at the moment. They're going to continue to chase down the hill, but Little Manny Man emerges. Fido Man's got himself a penalty for his troubles, but that's Little Manny Man up into P7.
Matthias right behind JB for P5 as well. Gets a much better exit out of the penultimate corner than the Ferrari and the final corner. Here comes Matthias. DRS open. He's got no ERS left on that McLaren though. So it's going to be close. They're heading into turn 1 side by side. Who's going to back out? Neither of them. No, JB will. As Cheryl Shaft finally getting past Crozer for P2. Down towards turn 3. But it's not over yet because Cher goes deep. Who's going to get the DRS? It's going to be Crozer, and he's going to keep the position. But they've lost over a second to Darth Nihilus in the meantime.
Yeah, these guys battling. It's just going to allow Darth Nihilus to run away with this race, and he was already doing that anyways. And the Mexican driver doing an incredible job thus far. He'll be on to watch as we finish this season off with the final 5 rounds. There's plenty of racing left still to go, though. And these guys are doing an incredible job despite the low numbers.
Yeah, I mean, you couldn't ask for more excitement with 12 drivers, really, could you? JB just trying to stay within DRS range of Matthias, but he's struggling to do so. That McLaren has got a lot of race pace, it seems, compared to his quali pace, as Cheryl Shaft is going to have another go here. Here we go, turn 1. He's got to get a good exit, and he does. Crozer over the curb, so I think this could be move done here.
Yeah, it could be if he can get it done before the braking zone. He's close and close and close. Onto the inside he goes. Krauser squeezes him as much as he can. And they're going to continue. Maybe a little bit of contact made. They're going to emerge from the corner side by side once again. The DRS goes to the Alfa Romeo. It's going to chase him all the way down towards turn 4 now. And Krauser going to try and fend him off. Takes that outside line. Is going to try and squeeze him to the curb. Go all the way around the outside. Side by side they continue to go. The Alfa Romeo, the shorter line though, and emerges as we pan down towards turn 5. That's Cheryl Shaft up into P2.
No contact at all. Beautiful racing between the two of them, but Krauser's got a lot more ERS in the tank. I don't think that battle is done yet. But we've got a 3-car battle for P5 at the moment. Matthias, JB, and then Lil Manny Man, who's looking to recover after was it a spin earlier, I think. Obviously started on the 3rd row, now down to P7 after he had a start that put him into P4 or something like that. But he's going to find it hard to get past JB when the latter has DRS in front of him.
Yes, certainly so. We might see the emergence of the DRS trains that we talked about at the very beginning of the stream. I've once again realised I'm not recording this, so it just continues to be that same mistake made. But here comes Krauser, looking to the outside, defensive goes the Alfa Romeo. He's going to make him go the long way round, looks to go underneath, does the Ferrari, and he does get a much better exit. He's so much quicker on that exit there, but the Alfa Romeo making himself as wide as possible as they run down towards turn 5. There's just nowhere for that Ferrari to go.
I think they've both long since given up on Darth Nihilus. It's well and truly a battle for second place. But, Sumo, look who's in P4, just over a second behind on hard tyres. Femi Thrustmaster is far from out of this podium fight. And he is currently in a much better position than the two ahead of him, because he's going to have the medium tyres for the second stint. So if he can stay reasonably close to them, he's going to have a fantastic effort at second place, but he does go very wide at turn 1.
Krauser, a big moment there as on the exit of turn 1, lucky to keep the car going. This situation that Krauser finds himself in is finding is all too familiar to me. In between two Alfa Romeos, if you substitute that Ferrari for a black and yellow Renault, we're back in Bahrain short as Pommy Alex finds himself off the circuit in sector 3 once again.
Oh, Pommy Alex. Yeah, it's not been a good day for him. I wouldn't be surprised if we saw him peel off into the pit lane and retire, to be honest. He's about to be lapped. And the Australian will want to forget this race so far, as he goes for another spin at the penultimate corner, it looks like.
Oh, Pommy. What are we going to do with you? Meanwhile, the battle for 5th place rages on. That Red Bull all over the back. He may as well be a part of that diffuser on that Ferrari as they make their way down towards turn 9. Surely not into there, little Manny Man. He had to think about it, did the Red Bull, but he's not going to go for that move just yet. It is doable, of course. It gets a great exit. This could be the run for the Red Bull now. Looks toward the inside. JBS Steve's going to be looking in his mirrors at the moment. Little Manny Man is going to say, no, I'm going to go again here. But that Ferrari gets close to the McLaren as well, and little Manny Man gives it a little bit too much on the exit of turn 1 and spins.
Meanwhile, battle for P2, Krauser and Cheryl Shaft. Again, it's swapping positions. Krauser around the outside of turn 3, and he's got P2 back. As Matthias on JBS Steve as well. I'm not sure if anything happened there. It looked like some weird movements, but maybe just a bit of lag. As Matthias back up to P5, but JB still right behind him and relieved of the pressure of that Red Bull.
Yeah, they were side by side, just as Krauser and Cheryl Shaft were going side by side as well. So the Ferraris in the thick of the fighting at the moment. And I think...
Femi spun!
Oh,
Femi
no!
spun on P4. And there goes that brilliant position that he was in. And Matthias going through the Alfa Romeo. JB slows down to avoid contact. But Matthias up to P4, and Femi, disaster for him. It's so many spins today, Sumo, as Cheryl Shaft is right behind Krauser yet again.
A very slippery track out there despite the rain. Maybe a little still wet from the Tier 1 race a few days ago. But yes, shame for Femi Thrustmaster. Oh, that's little Manny Man. He's gone round at the final corner as well. Cheryl Shaft and Krauser continue to fight furiously toward the front as well. And there's so much action going on, Ghost. It's hard to keep track of it.
It really is. It's just two battles going on at the same time, but I mean, it's all happening as Lil Manny Man spins again at turn 1. It's not been a good race for him at all. Terrible day for Red Bull so far. Pommy Alex gets himself a time penalty as well at the back, but JB nearly going for a move on Femi Frostmaster there as the Alfa Romeo tries to fight back into this race. I think there's a lot of people desperately hoping for a safety car here, not least Pommy Alex, who needs one right now before he gets lapped.
Yeah, he certainly does in it. Once he gets lapped, that's practically his race over. Cheryl Schaff continuing to close down on Krauser. The ERS advantage going to the Ferrari at the moment, but he's going to get the DRS once again as they climb up the hill towards turn 3.
Femi down the inside of Matthias into turn 1. There's a bit of contact between the two of them. Matthias off the track. I don't know who's got DRS. I don't think it's Matthias who got the DRS. Round the outside he goes.
No, it's neither of them.
Oh, neither of them got it. Wow, okay, so Femi now doing the switchback as Matthias goes deep and gets on the curb and spins. Oh, he was having such a good race, but he is our latest casualty of what is turning into Spinstria.
Yes, or something along those lines at the moment. The red and black work well together, it says Lifeboat. Rare commentary L, I don't think so. I don't like the way that they're integrated at the moment. At the minute, but Femi Frostmaster is pulling away from JBSD. I think Matthias won't be too happy. I think he might have a few words to say about Femi Frostmaster and the racing that he experienced there, but we'll leave that for the stewards room, where all these things are decided. Meanwhile, it's Ferrari versus Williams as Fido Man's all over the back of JBS Steve now.
He certainly is. Matthias into the pits, I'm sure for the hard tyres, as Tito looking for this move. He's been languishing at the back. Well, not quite at the back because of all the spins, but you know what I mean, for most of this race. But now here he goes for an overtake. He backs out of it just before they go into turn 3, but JB goes deep, and it could open the door for Tito again on the run to turn 4. Here we go. He's got the straight line speed. He's going to look to the inside. JB's going to defend. Can Tito get the move done? Down the inside he goes. JB holding it around the outside. They're going to continue to go side by side all the way down towards turn 6, but I think Tito has got that done.
Yeah, he has. A great move from the Williams, and that's how you navigate that corner, going side by side. Lewis Hamilton and Sergio Perez and Alex Albon and the various drivers that have tangled together at that corner. If the amateurs on the sim game can do it, so can the real drivers, as Cheryl Shaft is in the pit lane.
Certainly is. JB as well follows him in. That'll be for hard tyres for both of them, but Cheryl Shaft needs to get a good outlap now, a good few outlaps. He's got clean air by the looks of it. Tito's a long way ahead of him, so he's got plenty of room and no pressure on him to get some good outlaps in.
No, certainly not, and it'll be crucial if he wants to emerge. Well, wants to get ahead of Krauser as he emerges on the pit lane, but the pit window is well and truly open right now, and I'm expect to see some more drivers peeling his way in. Pommy Alex will want to see Daphne Hillis peel in before he does, but Daphne Hillis a mighty 9 seconds ahead.
Yeah, I think Pommy Alex might be out of luck if he's hoping for that, because Daphne Hillis on the hard tyres and he's going a lot longer. So Pommy just desperately trying not to get lapped, but he can't ignore as soon as the blue flag notification comes up, that's going to be it. But Krauser comes in for hard tyres as well, just a lap after Cheryl Shaft. These two are going to continue to battle as the Ferrari exits the pits. Where is the Alfa Romeo? He's on the left as they approach towards turn 1. Cheryl Shaft, look on your right. Oh, Cheryl Shaft spun! Turn 1! Disaster! He was right there. He was going to make the move. He definitely had the overspeed on Krauser as the Ferrari exited the pit lane, but it's just a mistake. Too eager to get past the Ferrari, and he is now 8 seconds behind Krauser.
Oh, that is a huge shame for Cheryl Shaft. He could see his target in his sights as he rounded that corner, but just gave it a bit too much. Got a bit too excited, I think, and has found himself spinning, and he'll be kicking himself for that, I'm sure.
Yeah, I think he will be. He's not going to be happy that he's thrown that away.
Pommy's
Alex is out. And that could be a safety car.
It could be. I don't think it is. I think the field's a bit too spread out. He's actually in the pit exit, I think.
Yeah.
Where he's spun at the minute. Lifebout says Cheryl shafted himself. Comedic genius there, Lifebout.
That's certainly one way to put it. Matthias, meanwhile, catching up to Tito Man. 2 seconds is the gap at the moment. I think that is coming down, though, as the McLaren's race pace has been better than Quali's. I need to stop riding on board with Matthias. He seems to spin every time I do. He nearly goes into the wall there at the final corner. JB right behind him as well, 3 seconds behind, and then Lil Manny Man a long way back after his unfortunate spins. So he's got a lot of work to do. He desperately needs a safety car, but at the moment he's not getting one, and he's already been lapped as well. So if the safety car does come out, he needs Darth to pit, and then for him to be able to unlap himself, but it's going to be tight.
Yeah, it is. It's going to be incredibly tight. Along in the pit lane at the minute, everything widening out at the moment, it seems, as the drivers have all sort of spread themselves out during this pit stage of the race at the minute. Still a few drivers yet to come in. Femi Frostmaster and Daphne Hillis, your top two at the moment, still yet to come in, and Daphne Hillis, barring any mistakes really, has just run away with this.
Yeah, he has just been, a class of his own, really. No one else really matching his race pace at all, despite the close qualifying. Maybe LB could have matched him, but obviously that has not been able to materialize, unfortunately, due to the disconnection at the start. I really hope he can get that sorted for next week, because I don't want to see him get disqualified before turn 1. 3 weeks in a row. That would be pretty brutal.
Yeah. For sure. Can't feel great getting disconnected through, getting disqualified through no fault of your own at the moment. But things quietening down. Matthias slowly closing in on Fido, man. That gap is sort of teetering at 2 seconds or so, and dipping underneath that 2 seconds every now and again. The Ferrari of JBS Steve not too far behind either. We'll be keeping a close eye on these times to see which battles are closest on the circuit at the minute. Indeed.
Lifebelt says Octavius. I'm not sure what he's referring to there. But we also have Harris in the chat. Hello, Harris. Good to see you around. Yeah, it looks like you say, things quieting down a bit. Although JB, I think, is catching up to Matthias, who is in turn catching up to Tito. Still plenty to come as Darth Nihilus finally comes into the pits on those hard tyres. With Femi 23 seconds behind. I think he'll exit just in front of Femi, but he could run into issues if he ends up behind the Alfa Romeo. Although I think he will be safe as he exits the pit lane now. With Femi just coming around the final corner, he'll be fine.
Yeah, he's absolutely fine. He's going to emerge out into no man's land, and barring any major incidents on his outlap, I think he'll just slip straight back into the race and controlling it as he has been since the very beginning, or at least since Pommy Alex spun out of the lead, which was a huge shame for him. We've lost 3 drivers so far, 1 disqualification through a disconnection and 2 crashes. Our defending champion and our current championship leader both out of this race, and we could see somebody new at the top of the standings, and it will be this man in the papaya orange McLaren who could potentially take that top step on the championship.
I think he will do just that, unless we have some late drama, a safety car to throw things up in the air, but he'll be desperately hoping for that not to happen. He's currently leading his nearest rival. Femi still has to pit, so his nearest rival is Crozer, who is 9 seconds plus behind. So Darth Nihilus very comfortable right now, as now Matthias gets in DRS range of Tito Man, who gets himself another track limits time penalty. So some action could be on the horizon. We still have 14 laps to go.
Yeah, looking at the penalties, it's 3 seconds for Cheryl Shaft, Tier and Matthias, and it's 9 seconds for Fido Man. Oh, that's a Ferrari in the wall. That's JB and Steve out. I just saw it in the background. That could definitely be a safety car, and it is.
JB just bends it at the final corner. He was too eager to catch up to Tito and Matthias, and he is now out of this race. Lil Manny Man, is he unlapped? He is unlapped, so he is going to be able to catch back up, but he's coming into the pit, so I'm not sure. It could be close. I think he'll be fine, though. I think he'll be able to catch up to the back of the grid. So back in this race goes Lil Manny Man. So he'll be happy with that. As now that 11, well, it was about 9-second gap between Darth and Crozer is going to come down all the way to 0, as Crozer is going to come into the pits for fresh mediums, and the gap is going to be equalised.
Oh, I don't think Little Manny Man's going to make it.
Oh, no.
Unless the McLaren lets him go past, but I don't think that's going to happen. I think Little Manny Man's going to be out of this race.
Oh, that's such a shame. Yeah, you're absolutely right. He has not made it. Cheryl Shaft stays out on the hard tyres, interestingly enough. So Crozer down to P3, but he's going to be on those fresh mediums. Femi also staying out, of course, because he pitted the lap before. It's perfect timing for the Cameroonian. And up to P3 he goes, with Crozer just behind him.
Yeah, with double stacking at Williams, but they can afford to do that medium tyres for everybody. But Cheryl Shaft, who has stayed out, that could come back to bite him. Ghost, I was just getting ready to sit back and just comment on some of the action and start, chatting, rambling on and chatting some waffle, as Zach Sweeney would like to say. But I then see a Ferrari just careen into the barriers at the final corner, and we've now got a safety car.
Yeah, that is how it goes sometimes. Just as you think, that's, well, race pretty much done now. We'll get a few more bits of action before the end, but no, out comes the safety car. JBS Steve is going to be gutted, but whoops, as I nearly dropped my controller. Yeah, Darth Nihilus is going to be frustrated, but he will be nonetheless pleased to see that he's got Cheryl Shaft behind him, so he's got a car between himself and the other guys on fresh mediums, which I think is going to really help him, because he could get out of DRS range very quickly.
Yeah, he certainly could, and he's also got that lapped car there as well, which is going to give him not too much of an advantage, but it will mean that Cheryl Shaft and the rest will be a little bit further back than they would like.
Yeah, absolutely. So it's going to be an interesting restart. I really hope Lil Manny Man has read the recent rule change on being lapped under safety car, because as soon as you get past the line, you have to let everyone through. But we'll see. Hopefully he does do just that and doesn't interfere too much in the race. After the safety car comes in, it is disappointing, I'm sure, though, for him to be lapped in this way. He would have thought when the safety car came out he'd be back in the race.
Yeah, he would have hoped to, and it's a shame that the F1 game doesn't let lapped cars go through. It's such an easy thing to do. I mean, other racing games do it as well. I was watching some stock cars, I think, and lapped cars are able to go through underneath the safety car. But we're going to end this safety car period now, as Darth Nihilus is going to lead us off once again. He's got until the safety car peels into the pit lane, up into the line to get this race started. The safety car is into the pit lane now, so it's all in the hands of that Papaya McLaren, and I think he's gone. He certainly has. Hopefully, little Manny Man. I don't think he's. I don't know if he's read the rules at the moment. But Darth Hillis is going to be pulling away.
Femi.
No, Femi threw on Cheryl Shaft. I think that might have been team orders. No, Cheryl Shaft. I don't know what was going on there, but these Alfa Romeos are going to be fighting one another as they run up towards turn 3. They've got the Krauser in the Ferrari looking for a way around the outside as well. He's going to try and go around both of them. Late braking.
Cheryl Shaft as well, the McLaren into the back of the Alfa Romeo, damage to the McLaren. Cheryl Shaft is going to be annoyed at that. He's lost 3 positions as a result, as Tia now down the inside of the McLaren. Matthias going to find himself in the steward's room for that one. But Tia and Matthias now side by side on the run to turn 6. Is Tia going to make it all the way around the outside? Remember, Matthias has that damage to his wing, and Tia does make the overtake. As now here comes Cheryl Shaft on the McLaren. He's got to make this move quickly. He's going to make it into turn 9. Here we go. Down the inside he goes. I think he will make the move unless Matthias makes contact.
Oh, contact!
Tito into the back of the McLaren. And Matthias all the way round and into the pit lane. He's frustrated with that one, I'm sure.
Yeah, 100%. That was just absolute carnage. Once again, carnage on the opening laps as we restart this race once more. And Darth Hillis has done exactly as we said he would and opened up that gap. But Femi has got it all to do. He's going to try and catch up ahead. He has the lead Alfa Romeo now after Cheryl Shaft's calamitous opening couple of laps. Krauser's not going to be far behind either. Can it be 3 podiums in a row for the Ferrari driver?
Who knows? I mean, he said before he's never had 2 podiums in a row before in APP until last week. And this could be 3 if he can hang on to where he is. He's doing a fantastic job at the moment. I do have to say with Matthias, it's pretty much he's pretty much got himself to blame. He did go straight into the back of Cheryl Shaft and got himself some damage, and I think that is part of the reason that Tito went into the back of him. But maybe some blame definitely on the Williams, but I'm sure we'll find out in the steward's room later as Darth now sets the fastest lap. That gap is going up and up, and he is back in control of this race once again.
Yeah, hopefully Cheryl Shaft doesn't have any rear wing damage on that Alfa Romeo, but it's 2 Williams is sandwiching the Alfa Romeo Cheryl Shaft at the moment, and this could be quite a little battle here. They're all on penalties as well. I think Tito's got the most out of the 3. He certainly does, but Cheryl Shaft, oh no, Tia's got 6 seconds, so not really racing unless Cheryl Shaft gets himself a second penalty.
Well, Cheryl Shaft is definitely racing for P3 because Krauser has a 5-second penalty. Must have been pit lane speeding, but I didn't quite catch when he got that. So if Cheryl Shaft can get within 2 seconds of the Ferrari, he'll find himself on the podium as here he goes. It's the same again into turn 9 down the inside. I'm sure Tia's going to let it go, and he does around the outside, and Cheryl Shaft takes P4, and now he's got to catch up to Krauser. 2 seconds he's got to be within to snatch the podium away.
Yes, it's going to be a race against time on these dying laps of the race. It's lap 28 of 36 as we head off once again up the hill in towards turn 3, following the 2 Williams as they chase down Cheryl Shaft. Could Tia make a move? He does. He tries to go around the outside of the Alfa Romeo. Side by side they go once again. Old hard tyres, remember, on that Alfa Romeo, and he's got 2 fresh medium compound runners behind him, and Tia's going to look to the inside this time for turn 4, and Fido Man could get involved as well. No, but side by side they go once again. Great racing between the pair of them. Tia has a little moment as they go side by side now, continuing to go side by side as Tia's got that slight advantage, but through turn 5 they go now side by side, and Fido Man is involved in this as well. There's 3 cars so close together on the track at the moment. They must be loving this.
They must indeed. The 2 Williams are going to be battling as well. Tito is right up behind his teammate as they go through the middle part of sector 3 and down towards the last corner. They've got the lapped car of Lil Manny Man as well. He's going to make sure he doesn't get too much involved in this. Tito Man backs off from Tia on the run towards turn 1 as Tia continues to chase Cheryl Shaft as they both go very deep at that first corner.
Yeah, Tier battling Cheryl Shaft could be incredibly detrimental to his campaign to try and catch up to Crozer. He's sat 3.6 seconds behind the Ferrari. He's got to close that gap as Tier, a poor exit on out of the third corner. Sees his teammate make his way through now, and it's a swap at the Williams.
There's damage to Tier's car. He's got no front left end plate. I'm not sure how he got that damage and how long he's had it for, but he does have that damage and he's now going to drop off, so he must not have had it for long. I'm not sure how he got it, but Tier, I think, is going to have to settle for P6 today.
Yeah, I think so. That is a shame for the British driver. He was one of the drivers who is in content, who could have potentially found himself elevated in towards that fight at the front, but I think that's I can't remember which drivers I said. I know Darth Nihilus could be. I think Femi Fussmaster finds himself in amongst that mix as well. So without our championship leaders here, these two are set to put themselves into the mix, and it could be a 4-car race as we finish the season.
Well, Tito Man right behind Cheryl Shaft, but as it stands, some quick maths here. So Lil Manny Man scoring 12 points, so he'll be on. So it'll be Lil Manny Man on 86, Darth and Hillis on 88 or 89 because he has fastest lap. Mr. J Man 84, Lawrence 80. So 9 points between the top four. And then Femi Thrustmaster will be on 75, so he won't be too far behind either. So we could have a 5-car battle for the championship with 4 rounds to go.
No, if that doesn't sound exciting, and if it's not a good enough reason to like the stream and subscribe to the channel, then I don't know what is. As Tier 2 is once again providing us with some great championship fights at the moment, as Little Manny Man, the lapped car, is staying ever closer to the Williams, but I'm sure he'll be mindful of the rules and not get himself too involved at the moment. Fido Man going to try and stay with Cheryl Shaft at the moment, who is not doing so well as to close that gap.
He's certainly not, as Femi has dropped off 3.7 to Darth Nihilus at the front. He's also got himself a 3-second time penalty. So that is his challenge for the lead over, unless something dramatic happens to the McLaren driver. But I think Darth has this pretty much in the bag. So the main battle on track is Tito on Cheryl Shaft, although it's still 12 seconds to Tito compared to 3 seconds of penalties for Cheryl Shaft. Yeah,
for sure. And Tito getting really testing the limits of the circuit this evening. And I mean, there's a reason this is called the Track Limits Grand Prix. And it certainly became that in real life last year as well. As Matthias is coming to the pit lane, and that has elevated Little Manny Man, so he actually is going to have somebody to race, I think.
Well, not quite. Matthias still quite a way down, but it will be, Little Manny Man an extra point, so that's big for the championship implications, because he'll be on 88 points compared to Darth's 89, I think. So those top two very close, but obviously it's very, very close at the top between many drivers, and honestly any of them could take this title at this point. Only 4 rounds to go. Lil Manny Man, he's never really been at the front for pace, although he's very good in qualifying today, but he's finished every race, I think. He's always gotten to the end, he's gotten to the checkered flag no matter what's happened. He bagged himself a podium in Saudi Arabia, so he's just been there or thereabouts all the time and always scoring points, and you can see the results compared to those around him who are obviously missing a week or DNFing. He is now just a couple of points behind the championship leader.
I mean, we've had a few drivers say, you've just got to be in it to win it, I suppose, and that falls true, especially for Little Manny Man, who, he may not be at the front of the field every session qualifying or race, but he's scoring the points, he's bringing them home consistently, and I think that is a tier. It is tier. He has had a spin at turn 1. Looks like he's crashed sort of in the same place as a couple of drivers have this evening. Doesn't look like he's got any damage on that Williams, but he won't want to be doing that too many more times.
But what was crucial was that he managed to nick fastest lap before he did that. So that's going to be that extra point taken away from Darth Nihilus, and that's going to mean little Manny Man, who's currently in P7, he'll be on 87 points compared to Darth Nihilus's 88. So 1 point in it.
Well, I think Tier's also close in this fight as well, so it actually could be 6 cars that could be fighting toward the end.
Yeah, Tier's not that far behind either. He's sitting in P6, so he'll be on 74, which will be just a point behind Femi. So yeah, 6 cars in the battle for the championship within 13 points of each other.
Yeah, here comes Fido Man. He's having a look around the outside of Cheryl Shaft. Cheryl Shaft sticks to the racing line and really squeezes that Williams at the moment. That was incredibly close, but I'd think just about fair.
Yeah, that was very risky from Cheryl Shaft. They could have both ended up in the wall with just a little more contact. So very on the edge from Cheryl Shaft, but he has had a fairly frustrating race. So, you know, doesn't want to let Tito Man past, even though the Williams has 12 seconds worth of penalties.
Well, guys, my question is, what is this going to do to the Constructors' Championship? Only one Red Bull scoring points. This and their rivals around. I mean, I think it's Ferrari who are close. Alfa Romeo as well. They're going to get a solid 2-4 result out of this. Williams a 5-6. So that's going to bring Red Bull that little bit closer. But there'll have to be a couple more major calamities for the Red Bull team before they're toppled at the front.
Yeah, absolutely. It's definitely going to need some more problems for Red Bull for anything to change at the top of the constructors.
Side by side they go again.
Yeah, couldn't quite make it work though, and tried to go for the switchback, but Cheryl Shaw very cleverly covering that off as Darth Nihilus coming around the final corner, about to start the final lap of the race.
He's been incredibly consistent today as Darth Nihilus and has proven himself as one of the top guys here in Tier 2. We'll continue to keep an eye on this battle, but starting the final laps now are the drivers, and Darth Nihilus is leading them as he has from more or less the beginning of this race. Last to first in, it's Mr. J-Man in the chat at the moment. It was the plan to go last to first. Messed up on his tyre pressures, it seems.
Ah, well, that would make sense. It's still very unfortunate for the championship leader to lose his lead in such a way. But, yeah, final lap. Could Tito Man have one more attempt at getting past Cheryl Shaft on track? It won't matter after penalties, of course, but he's still going to want the glory of getting past on track as he goes to the outside, nearly getting on the grass as he continues to hold it around the outside, but Cheryl Shaft shuts the door very, very nicely and fairly, it has to be said. So Tito is going to have to stick behind that Alpha, but Darth Nihilus coming around the final corner.
Darth Nihilus then, the man in the papaya orange McLaren, is going to come across the line to win here at Austria for Tier 2, Round 6, Season 6 in APPF1. Femi Frostmaster is going to follow him across the line as well. And for the third week running, Krauser in the Ferrari comes home P3. At the moment, with Cheryl Shaft and Fido Man closely behind one another in positions 4 and number 5. Tier will come home P6, and then we'll wait for Matthias, who's just crossed the line there. And little Manny Man is just about to cross the line, so we just wait for Tier after this hectic race. We've lost 4 cars, but the racing action was still just as good.
Little Manny Man spun at turn 7 on the final lap, Sumo. So he lost that extra point that he would have gotten for finishing ahead of Matthias. So not what he would have wanted. In this championship fight, as Tier finally comes across the line to finish what was a chaotic, it has to be said, Austrian Grand Prix.
Yeah, it certainly was that. We're going to make our way over to the party now for some interviews with our top 3. But a chaotic race and some great driving to boot. let's just move over. There we go, let's get us in the party. There he is, and that McLaren outfit becoming a familiar sight on the top step of the podium as the celebrations are underway. And a great result for Daphne Hillis, who I'm sure will have plenty to say in a few moments' time. We'll just wait for the celebrations to continue and we'll get you running through our final finishing order for this evening as we let everybody filter into the party. But it's Daphne Hillis then who comes home on the top step of the podium, being flanked by Femi Thrustmaster and Krauser after a great race here in the Austrian hills. Cheryl Shaft comes home slightly disappointed in P4, I would say, but not a bad result at all for the Portuguese driver. Fido Man rounding off your top 5 with Tier coming home in P6, Matthias P7, Little Manny Man P8 with JBS Steve, Pommy Alex, Mr. J-Man and LB not finishing or starting this race.
Indeed, and Tia nicking that fastest lap at the end from Daphne Hillis. Well, how important is that going to be in such a close championship? You do have to wonder, but we have to come to Daphne Hillis, who is, well, before stewards, but I don't think you're going to be in trouble for anything really. You are the championship leader, so talk us through that race and your feelings knowing that fact.
Oh, hello guys. It was a really good race. Pretty much what I wanted, like from a few weeks ago. Just a clean, nice race. Nothing happened in my end, and what a way to celebrate it with a victory. But I mean, like I said last week, I'm not looking at the championship, but yeah, we're getting good points with it, which is what matters.
Absolutely. Well, it's been a pretty comfortable race for you today, but when that safety car came out, you must have been thinking, oh no, here we go, because suddenly that 9-second very comfortable lead, completely controlling the race, was cut straight back down. So you really had to sort of refocus and get back in the zone, get that 1 second gap back under back between you and Crozer. So how difficult is it to get back in that mindset once the safety car comes out and ruins your plans?
It's really hard because I was not pushing at all. I was just controlling the pace. So, and the curves in Austria are really, really, really tough. So you can touch it like a little bit bad, and everything can go wrong really quickly. So thankfully, I had a Red Bull between me and second place, which I managed to lap before the safety car, I think it was. So I had a little bit of space there, and then it was just a matter of, okay, let's push, but not over push, and get that gap. But yeah, it wasn't the best feeling getting that safety car, really.
Yeah, I can imagine. Well, regardless, you put on a fantastic performance today, just a class above the rest of the field, really, on pace and consistency. So congratulations on your victory, and yeah, the championship is on for sure.
Yes, thank you guys. I really enjoyed it.
Sumo, I'll let you come to Femi Thrustmaster.
Yes, Femi, P2 for you at the end of this Austrian Grand Prix. That must be a great feeling, great race for you. You've had quite the time in Tier 2. I think I remember way back to your first podium in Belgium. And you're finding yourself up there quite often, and now finding yourself within a shout of the championship. Run us through that race and your thoughts on your position in the championship fight at the moment.
In terms of the race, it was the safety car saved me, quite frankly, because I had my little spin halfway through. I had a horrible start, but I was plodding along in fourth. I was in a little island, and the safety car kind of brought me back into it because I would have been a very safe fourth, no one around me. And Shearer shafted a bit of a legend, really, because he played Ultimate Wingman in the end. 'Cause I got him at the restart, and he was really, really polite, really, really kind of respectful, clearly, Alfa Romeo teammates. And yeah, once I jumped him, I know there's a bit of kind of chaos behind me, but that then ultimately helped me get second. I don't think I deserved it on pace, quite honestly, but I'll take it. I'll take it, beyond, I'm not going to complain about that.
No, certainly not. I mean, whether you deserved to be in second or not, it doesn't matter. You finished there, and you've brought home the points now, and you're going to find yourself in amongst what is going to be quite a close championship fight. Is that where your mind's at? Are you looking to be the man on the top come the race into Lagos, or are you not worrying about that too much?
I mean, it's not. I mean, Darth is, as you said, Darth's a step ahead. I think he's a brilliant driver. So I don't think I've got a chance unless I kind of do some tactical DNFs against him. But no, I think there are some quicker drivers than me. It's gonna be consistent. I retired turn 1 last week. A few races ago, I made a bit of a hash of it myself. So I don't think I'm consistent enough or quick enough. What you've got to do in these sort of things is just be quietly plodding along and getting decent points. So I think Darth's probably the favourite at this point. I'm just enjoying racing on Tuesdays, so that's all that really matters to me.
Yeah, I mean, you're enjoying the racing, and that's definitely showing through as well, especially getting the results at the moment. Well done this evening, and you may not think you're be the fastest for the championship, but as we keep saying, at the moment you've got to be in it to win it.
Exactly. Brilliant. Thanks, guys.
Thank you, Femi. So we come to Crozer. Well, we were saying last week that you've never had 2 podiums in a row in APP. How about 3?
I know, yeah. That's what I was thinking just as I was coming into this party. Then I mean, if I just keep going and don't win and get second, third, I can't really complain, can I?
Well, it's certainly a fantastic set of results to be getting consistently. Third, it's not bad at all. And second, third. But I mean, just with all of that, it puts you on 70 points, which means 18 behind in the championship. Obviously, 4 rounds to go. You're going to need a bit of luck, I think, to cover 18 points. But I think you've got to be happy with the way you've recovered after the start to the season that you had.
Yeah, start of the season wasn't great. I think, like Femi said, Darth he's a tier 1 driver in tier 2, really, isn't he? Let's be honest, he's much faster than us. So I think between him and Lawrence, when they're both on song, they're not going to be caught. And if the other drivers can pick up another few battles behind, then I think we're battling for 3rd place, if we're being honest. Maybe battling for 4th, because Mr. J-Man had a bit of a lead. The bad start to the season obviously hasn't helped me, so I'm just going for consistency throughout. Every race, I think, it's just fun to be racing, It's fun to be online, even if it's 10 drivers showing up. It's nice to have a few battles. Throughout that race there, I had a few good battles, and that's why you turn up online, just for a few fun bits in a race.
Well, that's a very humble way to put it, and I'm glad it's something you enjoy. It's always good to get in the cockpit on a Tuesday and have some battles on the track, like you say. And if you can get 3 podiums in a row out of it, all the better. So. Long may this run continue. Keep it up, Crozer.
Yeah, cheers, guys. I'll try as best I can. It's the first time this season not getting a podium on the last corner as well, so that's good.
Yeah. Wow. Well, thank you, Crozer. Great race, and hopefully the podium run can continue as we enter the last 4 rounds of the championship. And speaking, go on.
I was going to say, yeah, hopefully we'll see though. But cheers.
No worries. And speaking of the last 4 rounds of the championship, next week it's the 28th of February, and we are heading to the Hungaroring for a tour around that incredibly twisty and technical circuit. That one should be quite an interesting one, and hopefully we've got all of our championship contenders back and behind the wheel for that one. And I think that'll be quite an interesting round, Ghost.
Absolutely. I hate that track on this year's game, I'm not going to lie. But we'll see how Tier 2 handle it. I think we'll probably see a lot of mistakes, but we'll see who's going to be the one to stay consistent. Because, I mean, let's be real, we've seen spins from every single driver on the grid this season. So, and a track like the Hungaroring, that's only going to amplify. So it's going to be who can stay consistent and on the pace next week. I'm really looking forward to it. It's going to be an interesting tactical race.
Yes, and I hate to sound like a stuck record, but you've got to be in it to win it in these championships, and we've got some incredible drivers who are all fighting their way to championship glory here in APPF1 Tier 2, but that's going to have to wait until next week. I'm not going to be around for Tier 1 again this week, so I hope, unless we don't get any coverage, we'll try and keep you updated on the Tier 1 action if we can. I've probably got some more commentary going on throughout the week for myself as well. Go check out Ghost's onboard stream as well of the race if you want to just see some different perspectives, and hop on over there and give Ghost some attention and likes and subscribe and all that jazz. But I'm going to stop rambling on now, and I'm going to say we'll see you next week for a trip around the Hungaroring. And I have been Sumo.
I have been Ghost.
And we will see you very, very soon. Goodbye.
Goodbye, everyone.